Hello and welcome to the news for Monday, the 22nd of September. And as promised, the Charlie Kirk Memorial has taken place in Arizona in the United States to hundreds of thousands of people in attendance in both the main stadium and another one across the road, as the entire mainstream media across the United States and even coverage here in Australia has been wall to wall for what was nearly 6 hours in total coverage of the particular memorial. Also, we're going to cover in today's show Anthony Albanese's announcement that Australia will recognise a Palestinian state and setting down the parameters by which that will actually happen. Let's show you that clip now and we'll continue with the coverage.
Australia is a long-standing supporter of a two-state solution as the only pathway to a secure and prosperous future for Israelis and Palestinians alike. Later today as well, I'll meet with the King of Jordan, His Majesty King Abdullah II, to discuss the Middle East and our bilateral relations, and there'll be other bilateral meetings held during this week. Today I'm pleased to be here with Minister Wong to announce that effective today, Sunday the 21st of September 2025, the Commonwealth of Australia recognises the State of Palestine. We have had in Australia a long-term position on a bipartisan basis of two states. One of those states is, of course, Israel. The other, of course, is Palestine. And this recognition being announced today in sync with our international partners, the United Kingdom and Canada, means that 3 of the Five Eyes nations are all making this decision today. We recognise the legitimate and long-held aspirations of the people of Palestine of a state of their own. And in doing so, we reaffirm Australia's long-standing position of two states, the State of Israel and the State of Palestine, living side by side behind internationally recognised borders in peace and security. Our act of recognition is based on the commitments received from the Palestinian Authority, including that terrorists of Hamas cannot govern Gaza again. Palestine recognises Israel's right to exist in peace and security, and the Palestinian Authority will demilitarise and hold democratic elections, driving broader reform to governance, finance and education. I want to acknowledge the leadership of the Arab League that has given added strength to these commitments. Their demand for Hamas to end its rule in Gaza and surrender its weapons has helped to create this moment of opportunity. This is the best chance the world has had in decades to disarm and isolate Hamas and deliver self-determination for the people of Palestine. This is a moment of opportunity for nations of goodwill to work together, to see the hostages taken in the atrocities of October 7, 2023 returned immediately and with dignity, to bring about an immediate ceasefire and to bring an end to the humanitarian catastrophe which is being inflicted on Gaza, to see vital aid, food, water, medicine flow to people in need. Australians want the killing to stop. Australians also, of course, don't want conflict to be brought to Australia. And Australians want the people of Palestine and the people of Israel to know a future of greater hope, true security and real peace. Today we advance that cause. Tomorrow we continue that work. And tomorrow afternoon's conference being convened by Saudi Arabia and France will be the next step following the recognition which our 3 states are announcing today.
Meanwhile, as expected, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has vowed no Palestinian state in a scathing response to Albanese, saying that it would support terrorism. Meanwhile, also in Australian news, It's been reported by news.com.au that they have failed the Australian people, according to Communications Minister Anika Wells, warning of significant consequences after this fatal OPTUS outage, the second one, including the one in 2023, and they will face significant consequences, according to Wells. We were told the outage affected 100 calls. Then shortly after 4 p.m, we were told the outage had affected 600 calls. Then we found out from our department that there had been 3 deaths, and we were told that there would be a press conference from the CEO of OPTUS. We were told the outage, again, 100, then it was 600. Then we found out, etc. So they are now saying that there will be severe consequences, $12 million fines, the least of which to expect here. And as we've also heard from Albanese over in New York, that Anika Wells was going to head over to the US but was staying behind to deal with the OPTUS catastrophe, as Albanese has described it. Now, also, over the weekend, we saw CPAC take place in Queensland, and we heard Jacinta Price aim squarely at net zero. So what's happening, as we talked about this last week, will there be a split in the party, considering that Susan Lee demoted Jacinta Price for her comments from a Labor Party analyst talking about Indian immigration and quoting that? That was enough to get Jacinta Price sacked from the front bench in the Liberal Party. Well, here she is, aiming fairly and squarely at net zero. Take a look.
Net zero isn't just an energy policy that'll cause your power bills to keep going up. It's about the government dictating how you and your family should live. They want to tell you what car you should drive and what you should eat. It's about telling businesses how to operate. It's about restricting what our farmers can produce and what our manufacturers can make. Net zero is about reducing our freedom. It's communism. It's time the Liberals pushed back against this freedom-eroding nonsense.
Lefties don't like her, but they can't pick on her for racism, but they did. Go figure. That the country that says you can't bring in too many more people, but you can bring in too many more people, are the same ones saying that the land was stolen. Go figure. Meanwhile, Tony Abbott, who must be Jacinta Price's mentor, he had this to say at CPAC.
We have 3 flags, not one. Some 80 Labor Green councils are refusing to hold citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day. We have too many migrants. Too many of them are living in Hotel Australia. They aren't joining Team Australia, and yet you can hardly blame them when we have a left establishment which is embarrassed about our Anglo-Celtic core culture and does not like our Judeo-Christian fundamentals.
Tony Abbott has certainly got a way to say what he thinks and for people to go along and agree with what he's saying, calling out the bleeding obvious. Meanwhile, also in Australian news, things got ugly at the Aligned Council of Australia with the sudden removal of John Larder as its chairman. Here's John Larder explaining what's going on, and then there's a little bit more behind the scenes.
G'day everyone, John Larder here with a quick update. Well, the other night on Club Grubbery, I alluded to the fact that I had been voted off the board of the Aligned Council of Australia, and as the chairman, there was a vote of no confidence from 3 of the board members. 2 of the board members are 100% behind me, 100% in our corner, and that's Derek Fox and Dr. Robert Peterson. So we will be contesting that vote of no confidence at a board meeting on Monday night, and I think we owe it to all the members to do that. We've got a vision, and we want to fight these bastards that are tearing down this country. and we don't want to pussyfoot around. So we are going to keep fighting, and as we only know how. So I'll let you know what happens, but that's where we're at the moment, and I'll give you a bit of an update next week.
Well. Very disappointing, isn't it? John Larter, who has been the face of the movement, or at least one of the faces, and has made only contributions, is somehow voted out. But why? Well, you all know her. I used to know her. Still do, I suppose, from a certain perspective. But the White Rabbit podcast has posted this. Okay, this is going back to last week. Okay, full transparency, as this will no doubt rear its ugly head at some point. 3 of 6 board members at the Aligned Council of Australia voted for Nicola to become their new CEO and drive energy into the council for its members by actioning things quicker and pushing back harder. However, Secretary Katie Ashby-Coppin strongly opposed my appointment, and I have quite nasty emails sent to me on Father's Day, of all days, regarding the levers used to prevent it. She then brought a vote of no confidence against the stellar Australian John Larter for, I assume, in part supporting my appointment. It's an outrage, and I'm not sure the members would be pleased with the goings-on. This is exactly the kind of thing Australia needs cleansing of. It's about the damn country and people's lives within it. If John Larter is on your hit list, there is something very wrong indeed. I massively appreciate your unwavering support, John, and you can chair my council anytime. Signed, Nicola. Wow. There's something. So Nicola was expecting to become the CEO of the Aligned Council. Good luck to her. And let's see what happens there. The Aligned Council, let's hope that they can actually achieve results for all of the toing and froing and supposed access to millions of people. Tell you what, it hasn't been easy to get things done through the Aligned Council, so let's see if any changes can make some benefits there. But the big problem, of course, we always have, same old, is egos getting in the way and people trying to cling on to positions of power. And if there's ever money involved, it just makes it even harder as well. All right, now let's get on to the big story over the weekend, which was the memorial earlier of Charlie Kirk. And I'm going to play to you a series of short clips for those that haven't seen what's going on. And, of course, there'll be wall-to-wall coverage everywhere. But these are a few special moments. Let's play now one from Tucker Carlson.
Real. This is the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever seen. And I don't... Whatever happens next in America, I hope it's in this direction, because God is here and you can feel it. And Charlie would have loved this, not just because he loved large groups of people, but because ultimately he was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in...
There you go. So there was Tucker Carlson. There was a very Christian theme to the entire event. There was also a suggestion, if you like the letter that comes number 17, listen to Stephen Miller.
The storm whispers to the warrior that you cannot withstand my strength. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. Erica is the...
How about that? The opposite is happening. If you thought you were going to slow down the American people, those that support Charlie Kirk and his work, and of course that means directly supporting Donald Trump, you got another thing coming. Meanwhile, of the list of speakers, Don Jr., he is known for his attempt at humour. Can be quite funny. Let's have a look at him now with an obvious observation.
To say Charlie knew more about the Bible than me is an understatement, folks. It's like saying Donald Trump knows more about being president than Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris. No kidding.
Next up, there were some really tender moments. There were some also very funny ones.
Who's seen me on social media knows I'm far more likely to crack a joke or get myself in trouble for posting some grossly inappropriate memes than I am to shed a tear. I know this because I've even gotten the call from that guy a couple times. You know, Don, you're getting a little aggressive on social media, Don. Relax.
Meanwhile, out of all the speeches, and they just got better and better, Marco Rubio was particularly impressive.
Look, I think he had a tremendous impact on young Americans in general. I think he had a very special and direct impact on young men in this country. That's one of the greatest developments I've seen. It's been very positive. I think we remember him for that. I think we remember him for constantly saying, you want to live a productive life, get married, start a family, love your country. These are powerful messages. But I hope many who are watching, I imagine there are people watching here tonight that didn't know much about Charlie Kirk until 11 days ago. Maybe they were disengaged from politics. Maybe they were partially engaged. I hope one of the things they take from this is that the movement Charlie Kirk led and started and gave fuel to was about politics, but not only about politics. It was deeper. It was broader. And I would say that, taking the liberty, but I'm confident he would agree, one of the things he wants us to take away from this, from all of this, is the following. His deep belief that we were all created, every single one of us, before the beginning of time, by the hands of the God of the universe.
Meanwhile, J.D. Vance also honed in on Charlie's message with another positive message, this time for young men.
Better to die a young man in this world than to sell your soul for an easy life with no purpose, no risk, no love, and no truth. Christ told us in the Gospel of John, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world.
Meanwhile, things go really close to home when we're introduced to Erica Kirk, and she firstly describes the moment that she has to witness her dead husband's body. Here she is.
God's love was revealed to me on the very day my husband was murdered. On the afternoon of September 10th, I arrived at a Utah hospital to do the unthinkable, to look directly at my husband's murdered body. I saw the wound that ended his life. I felt everything you would expect to feel. I felt shock. I felt horror and a level of heartache that I didn't even know existed. But there was something else too. Even in death, I could see the man that I love. I saw the one single gray hair on the side of his head, which I never told him about. Now he knows. Sorry, baby, I'm telling you now, but never told him. Didn't want to. I also saw this. I also saw on his lips the faintest smile. And that told me something important. It revealed to me a great mercy from God in this tragedy. When I saw that, it told me Charlie didn't suffer. Even the doctor told me. It was something so instant that even if Charlie had been shot in the operating room itself, nothing could have been done.
Then comes a moment that I think for many of us watching along changes everything. When Erica Kirk does something that almost none of us could think possible. She forgives her husband's killer.
Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Charlie Kirk was a modern-day Jesus Christ in a world run by satanic rulers. The fact that Donald Trump loved Charlie Kirk and his opponents are blasé defines the battle and this odd triangulation of loyalty that's now distorting everything. If you're not a Trump supporter but are saddened and disgusted by Charlie's murder, you're in a different position from those who hated Charlie, especially those who don't know him or his work but choose to hate anyway. The fact that Trump showed little grief was extraordinary in the clip we played the other day with Jimmy Kimmel, in that it showed us there was no emotion when running the most powerful country in the world. And it also said, "You can't get me, you bastards." They tried to kill him and instead killed his successor. That's right, Charlie Kirk could very well be American rights heir apparent. You can almost imagine Charlie Kirk being president of the United States one day. Well, Trump did have a lot to say, but his speeches generally become quite political in the moments that he has. He doesn't waste a moment. He talked in great depth. But I don't think there was a moment, at least this one, and it's unrelated to what went on, that did not blow people away, no pun intended, because he announced that tomorrow his administration, Maha, RFK Jr., are going to announce the cause of autism and also ways out, around and through with the treatment. Mind-blowing.
Healthy again. And tomorrow we're going to have one of the biggest announcements, really medically, I think, in the history of our country. We're going to be doing it with Bobby and Oz and all of the professionals. I think you're going to find it to be amazing. I think we found an answer to autism. How about that? Autism. Tomorrow we're going to be talking in the Oval Office in the White House about autism, how it happens, so we won't let it happen anymore, and how to get at least somewhat better when you have it, so that parents can help their child, their beautiful child.
Extraordinary moment. Right at the memorial of Charlie Kirk, something that we know Trump's been talking about since the early 2010 period. He backed off for some time. No one expected it would come out right there. Also at the memorial was the reuniting of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, particularly interesting after Trump's recent big tech dinner where Elon Musk was not in attendance, but Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Tim Cook from Apple, and Sam Altman from ChatGPT, known to be, well, at least a mortal enemy of Elon Musk, were all there instead. So what was that really all about? And why were none of them invited, but Elon Musk was, to this precious moment in certainly in the right wing, if you want to say it, the Christian conservative movement, the MAGA supporters there in the United States? Well, it was a very tender moment, all that for, in fact, it was for almost half a day, 6 hours. Let me play you now a clip prepared by the White House in memory of Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk.
If you knew him, you love him.
Charlie Kirk was an incredible man.
One of the strongest, bravest people that I know.
Charlie has the work ethic of no one I have ever met in my life. I don't think it can be understated, the impact that he had.
One of the greatest communicators of the generation.
He was more than just somebody who would comment on the news.
He genuinely respected and genuinely loved, in a Christian manner, the people on the other side of the table. He didn't hate anybody.
He would give the shirt off a back to help someone that was in need, regardless of their political stripe.
His ideas were about faith, family, freedom.
This young man with an idea that became a movement.
What he built is part of his legacy, but also part of that legacy, more importantly, is a husband and a father.
Irreplaceable. He was irreplaceable.
He's a one of one.
Right? Charlie Kirk was at the tip of the spear, never flinched, never backed off. He wanted that back and forth, but not out of anger, not out of a place of he wanted to humiliate them or embarrass them or something like that, because he wanted to actually try to communicate with them.
He went into the belly of the beast. He went on these college campuses and he evangelized.
This man who had a life force that was so much bigger than himself.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
I hope that the story of Turning Point USA, again, we started with no money, no connections, and no idea what I was doing, resonates with some of you.
Government sucks!
It's a nonprofit called Turning Point USA. To despair is a sin. And some people say, oh, Charlie, it's too hard. It's too overwhelming. It's too dark. Snap out of it. You still live in the greatest nation ever to exist in the history of the world. There is still so much to be hopeful and to be thankful for. And we have agency. The globalists are worried that you are waking up. They're worried that their fraud and their nonsense is finally being exposed, and you are at the central nerve of all of that. Ask God how to use you. Find a place to plug in. I am thankful for you. We had a vision because we love the country. Push yourself harder. Here I am. Lord, use me.
You guys might remember a year ago, I gave the whole speech of here I am, Lord, send me. And it was kind of this joke that we had as soon as I gave that message.
I remember him getting off stage and I say, honey, do you realize what you just did? He's like, yeah, I just spoke. And I was like, no. You said, here I am. That is a very powerful statement. And God's like, I see you. Charlie is so obedient to God, to the word of God. And it's been so humbling to witness the way that God has used him this year because he made that declaration a year ago saying, here I am, I'm ready. Wherever you need me to be, Lord, I'll be, and I'm your servant. Just put me out there in the thick of it.
You see, they wanted us to be quiet and afraid and silent and subservient. They wanted us to cower into our corner. But the conservative movement has changed fundamentally. I hope you guys understand this. This is the greatest country ever to exist in the history of the world. And I can say, wow, there was a debate. Is God done with this country? Now I can say confidently, no. God is not done with America, and our best days are ahead.
In memory of Charlie Kirk. Meanwhile, also in the US, the fallout from Jimmy Kimmel, the complaining goes on, and all eyes are on Trump, the dictator. And of course, who would you wheel out? None other than Hillary.
It is a direct government action to try to intimidate employers, organizations, corporations, much of which we've already seen, to remove an opponent, even though it's a comic. I had no idea when I was in public life and listening to the jokes that were made about me and the attacks that were, coming from people like Jimmy Kimmel and others, that I could have called up the head of the FCC and said, take them off the air. I don't like what they're saying.
Hillary, always the victim. Extraordinary. Now, we've also seen over the weekend there was some criticism, apparently, from Trump to Pam Bondi. That was an interesting story. Of course, that's how it was picked up in the mainstream news. But on the contrary, what it was pretty much signaling intention. That's why it was so interesting. So here is Hillary Clinton posting this. Imagine if Richard Nixon had just tweeted out the Watergate scandal rather than putting it on secret tapes. That's what this is. Highlighting there that Lindsay is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. All I can say, it's killing our reputation and credibility. So this is after the post where it's reported that Trump demands that Pam Bondi move now to prosecute foes. So there was the appointment of a particular prosecutor, and that prosecutor decided that Letitia James had no case. It was a baseless charge. Trump disagreed and then immediately moved to move Lindsay Hannigan in as a new prosecutor, a former Miss Colorado runner-up, who is now a prosecutor in the state of Virginia, and she has been moved in now. So we will see. We're getting very, very close now to potential prosecutions. Meantime, Hillary complaining about what's going on, Here is some realities there about the so-called censorship. The Biden administration officials, an example in 21 and 22, Biden's White House confirmed regular touch with social media companies to flag and remove misinformation on COVID-19 vaccines and elections, disproportionately affecting conservative voices. This included demands for data on users exposed to such content and the creation of DHS's Disinformation Governance Board, dubbed the Ministry of Truth by critics, which Republicans said was a tool to censor election denialism and COVID skepticism from Republican figures like Trump allies. Twitter files later exposed coordination that suppressed the 2020 Hunter Biden laptop story, blocking Republican narratives on Biden family dealings. So they want to talk about censorship. Meanwhile, this is the obvious part here. This has nothing to do with the First Amendment right. It's Kimmel came out and said that MAGA, the killer was MAGA, which was a lie. False information broadcasters cannot broadcast false information about a crime or catastrophe. It is known if it is known to be false and could cause substantial public harm. Well, that's why Jimmy Kimmel has a case to answer. No different to Roseanne Barr calling Valerie Jarrett a name, which was considered to be ill-conceived at the time, but there was no problem with the Obamas contacting the appropriate people and for Roseanne to lose that gig, which was in the reboot of her show, named in her own name, Roseanne. Well, maybe we'll give the last word here to Rob Schneider, who puts things into perspective for us.
Well, Will, first of all, I woke up this morning to the incredible shock that apparently TV shows are not guaranteed in our Constitution. I mean, wow. So that was tough to swallow, first. Second, I'm still waiting for the left, the liberals, to get outraged about Roseanne getting fired for her free speech. I'm also waiting. I've been waiting a long time for the left and the Democrats, especially the Democrats on Capitol Hill, for the Twitter files that released that the Biden-Harris administration was actually using the government to pressure Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and especially Twitter to actually censor actual Americans through government pressure.
And there you go. Well, thanks for watching this edition for Monday, 22nd of September on channel51.com.au.
News from around the world as it affects us at Channel 51. The latest interviews, the archives. The world is changing rapidly. Putting it all together. Buy one, get one free. Subscribe at channel51.com.au and get qcitizen.net for free. Daily news, twice weekly interviews, archive of hundreds of major interviews, special events. Thank you.